welcome to Weekend Sunrise. Great to have your company on this Saturday morning. You're not going to want to go anywhere. We've got a huge show coming up, including 80,000 music fans in Sydney overnight, all here to see Luke Combs take centre stage. And by all reports, he was amazing.
And we're celebrating Lunar New Year in studio with a very slithery guest.
But first up this morning, North and Far North Queensland residents are being warned of severe and life-threatening flooding with over 1,000 millimetres of rain forecast over the weekend. It is a staggering amount. We cross live now to Rosanna Kingson, who is in Townsville for us. Now, Rosanna, it's hard to overstate what the threat is like there. It is extremely serious. What's it like on the ground this morning?
It has been very wet overnight, Mon. We've seen some strong winds, and I just want to show you Applin's Weir behind me. This is on the Ross River. It's further down. At the moment, the Ross River Dam is doing controlled releases, and you can just see that water pouring down the Ross River there, going over the Weir. The Weir is expected to exceed the major flood level later today, and the bridge is actually now already closed off. Yesterday, Townsville copped the brunt of this storm, over 100 millimetres falling in about 2 hours, and now the totals are well over 200 millimetres in dozens of locations across Townsville, including 340 millimetres in North Ward alone in the city. That's led to flash flooding in a lot of low-lying areas, water simply gushing through streets, through bus stops, down Yarrawonga at Castle Hill. There have been emergency alerts issued yesterday about 6 o'clock, urging residents to prepare to leave. The evacuation centre at Heatley Secondary College was also opened by local authorities because we are expecting to receive about another metre of rain in some areas of North Queensland over the next few days as the tropical low continues to just bring that weather onto the coast. This is what authorities have had to say.
We've got emergency services personnel on the ground, including Swiftwater Rescue. We've got the SES, the Reconstruction Authority. So my message to Queenslanders is we are well and truly prepared, and we're asking you to do the same. We just want them to stay connected and listen to the warnings.
So there's a severe weather warning in place, as well as major flood warnings for the Ross River behind me, as well as the Bowley River. And the concern for authorities is also up in Ingham. That is where there could be a large amount of flooding as that rain continues to fall. We have also just received an emergency alert for the South Johnson River catchment. And just because this weather event isn't a cyclone doesn't mean it's not dangerous. We saw this in 2019 with the low that brought the floods here nearly 6 years ago today. So the message from authorities, guys, is really to listen carefully, and if you need to leave, to do so and to keep across those warnings.
Yes, those floods 6 years ago still living large in people's memories, aren't they? All right, Rosanna, thanks so much for the update. We will keep across it all morning. Here's Rezo.
Thanks, Mon. Well, the counter-terror investigation into a potential mass casualty event planned for Sydney's Jewish community has expanded now to another state. Sam Payne is live from one of the sites in the eastern suburbs of Sydney that was attacked during the week. Sam, Queensland Police now involved.
Yes, good morning, Chris. That's right. 7 News can confirm that the Queensland Counter-Terrorism Unit is assisting New South Wales Police in their investigation into the Dural caravan terrorism plot where explosives were found and a list of Jewish targets. 7 News can also reveal that the country's leader, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, was not informed of the discovery of these explosives. The Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns, only found out 3 days later. Comes as here in Sydney, the security continues to be ramped up, especially outside Jewish schools, where police presence will be increased around school drop-offs and pickups, including here at Mount Sinai College, where anti-Semitic graffiti was discovered only 2 days ago. More CCTV and bollards will also be rolled out in 3 councils across the eastern suburbs of Sydney as this security continues to be beefed up. And tonight in 7 News, Chris, will also take the viewers behind the curtain of what Sydney Police and New South Wales Police are doing to ward off anti-Semitic attacks.
All right, Sam, important developments there. Let's get some more news now with Sally.
Good morning. There are new developments that have come in overnight in the Washington DC plane crash that left 67 people dead and raised questions about American air safety. Aviation editor Blake Johnson is live this morning from Washington DC. Blake, there is new video now that has emerged of the collision.
Sally, good morning to you. Yes, two new angles have emerged overnight showing a much clearer picture of the collision between plane and aircraft that sent them both into the water. You can see both aircraft spiral out of control. They're so low to the water there is almost zero chance of recovery. The plane spinning into the Potomac River and the helicopter ending upside down. Air traffic control has closed some of the helicopter airspace around the airport. We've just come from a briefing in this room. It is a foggy, wet day in DC. The airport running at reduced capacity. 2 of its 3 runways are closed, partly because of the crash. They have recovered the black boxes of the American Airlines jet. We understand they're still looking for that in the helicopter, but we understand they know where it is that they're supposed to be looking. And that should hopefully uncover if the helicopter was flying too high, which is what Donald Trump is claiming, but without presenting any evidence. He posted, "It was flying too high by a lot. It was far above the 200-foot limit." That's not really too complicated to understand. 200 feet, about 60 metres above the water. His press secretary doubling down on that claim today.
The president is simply stating what he said in that True Social post, which is that the helicopter was flying higher than it should have been, which is one of the reasons that led to this collision. And the other reasons for that are still being investigated, and I will let that investigation play out.
We're learning more about the victims of this horrible crash. Families wiped out, sports teams left devastated. There was a biology teacher, fishing fans, and a flight attendant who had her dream job among the 67 dead. And American Airlines has announced it will retire that flight number. AA5342 will not be used again. Sal?
All right, thank you very much. Our aviation editor, Blake Johnson there. Almost all of Victoria is bracing for severe heat waves this morning, with temperatures set to reach the 40s in several towns. Firefighters are still battling several blazes in the state's west. Watch and act alerts have also been issued for 5 fires near the Grampians, with warnings that conditions there are rapidly changing. Fire crews aren't confident they can establish containment lines before conditions worsen today. Homicide Squad detectives are investigating after a woman's body was found inside a property in Melbourne's inner northwest. We cross live to Hope Wilson at Ascot Vale. Hope, forensic officers have been there overnight. What do we know this morning?
Good morning, Sally. Well, police say this is still incredibly early in the investigation. They were here overnight and police are still here this morning. Right now, they do have a block of units behind me cordoned off, but they say there is not much information they want to release at this stage. We understand it was a family member who found this woman inside the block of units here on Ormond Road. Police swarmed the area, blocking off part of the road. Homicide detectives were here, as well as forensic police, trying to piece together exactly what happened. But right now, there are not a lot of details police are wanting to release. They do say there is not anyone in custody and they are appealing for anyone with information to come forward. Sally?
All right, thank you very much. Hope Wilson there. A Perth mother and father who starved their daughter have been sentenced to jail for refusing to provide medical care for their dangerously ill child. The father will spend 6.5 years in jail, the mother 5 years. A judge called them willfully blind, grossly negligent and deliberate liars. The judge also took aim at the Education Department, saying homeschool assessors also failed the child. Punters will be forking out more for beer and spirits, with the federal government's beer and alcohol excise taking effect this Monday. The alcohol tax linked to inflation is applied twice a year. Alcohol industry bosses are calling for change, though, saying the increases are punishing drinkers and Australia's small independent brewers. Well, over 20 massive artists have taken part in a very star-studded Fire Aid concert overnight, raising money for those affected by the destructive California bushfires. Some of the artists to take to the stage included Nirvana, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish, Dr. Dre, Green Day, Lady Gaga, so many I can't even name them. Have a look. Oh, many of the stars featured also lost their homes in the fires. The songs all had a common theme, written as love letters to the city of LA. Lady Gaga performed a song that she's never performed for fans before. It wasn't a case of who was there, it was who wasn't there. It was just
it was absolutely
extraordinary.
amazing.
Joni Mitchell.
Yep.
return to
So
the
many
stage.
stars have got 2 stadiums booked out. Which one would you have gone to? I mean,
Yeah, but how could you decide?
well, it wouldn't have been a bad choice either way, but I mean, incredible.
Run back and forth between a sprightly young
and
thing
we
like
just
you
saw a
would,
little bit
wouldn't it?
earlier that collaboration that we just saw with Stevie Wonder and Sting. I mean, it was just everyone you would want to see on stage at one time. Brilliant.
Perfect. Loved it.